Hello and welcome to this video that is going to feature an iPad, and this tutorial is going to be on the Apple Pencil. I want to just take a little bit of time and just show you some of the gestures and the features and just some of the things that you can do with the Apple Pencil. It can be a very powerful tool, and there's a lot of things you may not realize right away because a lot of things are kind of not hidden, just harder to find, and they don't really make it well known that you can do these things unless you really go out and seek it. So I want to take this video and just kind of show you a few of those things. I'm not going to show you every possible thing it can do because every app has different features and functions and things that it can do. But hopefully this will get you comfortable enough to get started with the Apple Pencil so you can explore it more as you utilize it in more apps. Now, right out of the gate, the Apple Pencil can basically be used as just, those old pencils that has the stub on the end that you can just move around your iPad. That's the first basic feature you can use it for. The next thing you can do for it is when you go into your settings, and you'll scroll down, and you'll see this one setting called Apple Pencil. And if you tap on that, this will give you a couple different settings that you can use. Now, on the lower part of your Apple Pencil, you can just tap. And you'll see there's a little blue highlight that just appears every now and then right there. It's not a specific spot you have to tap, it's just a basic area. So if you're on kind of the lower, an inch or two up from it, you can tap anywhere in there. And it gives you some different options that you can do. You can turn it off, so tapping on it doesn't do anything. You might find that it's kind of annoying, or you have a tendency when you're just kind of sitting still to tap on the pencil. So it may not be something that really helps you out. You can turn it off. You can have it show a color palette, so when you tap on that, it'll pop up, and you can choose the color that you want to use. You can switch between your current tool, so if you're drawing, and then let's say you switch to a line tool, you can tap it on that location of the pencil and it'll switch between those two tools, the last tools that you've used. The one I prefer and like is using it as an eraser. So it'll switch between my current tool, which a lot of times is just a pen tool or whatever you're doing, and when I double tap on it, it will change it to an eraser, and then when I double tap again, it will go back to whatever the last tool I was using. So if I'm just drawing with a pencil and I double tap, it'll switch to an eraser. I can erase everything I want. Then I can tap it again to go back to the last thing I was using, which for me was my pencil. So let me take a second and take you in and show you this, a little hands-on. Now, your iPad comes with Pages, the Apple Work Suite, which is Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. I am a huge, huge fan of Keynote. Many, many reasons. I think it's really powerful for presentations, but the Apple Pencil works fairly well in those apps. It does work really well in Keynote. I find in Pages and Numbers, most people don't use Numbers, but if you do like Numbers, you can use it in Numbers. I find the Microsoft Office suite is a little bit better with the Apple Pencil for some reason. So what I tend to use is I use Microsoft Word, I use Microsoft Excel, and then I use Apple's Keynote. So those are the apps I tend to use. So I'm going to go into Word, and I've already got some gobbledygook text pulled up on the screen. If I want to use my pencil, you'll see on the top here, you'll see one of the icons says Draw. And if I tap on that, it's going to give you a bunch of different options here. You'll see your eraser tool, and you'll see when it's selected, there's a little arrow below it. It allows me to select the size eraser. And then you've got your pen tools or your marker tools, whatever you want to call them. And you'll see when I click on one, there's that little arrow that appears. And when I tap on that arrow, I can choose the size, I can choose the color, and I can even go into more colors and select all sorts of stuff. You can make your own combinations. But let's say I've got a document and I want to use a couple different colors. So say the first one I want to use is black, which it's already selected on. You'll see there's more pens up here and different types. So I click on the red one, and let's say I want to have a quick one that I can switch to orange really fast. So I just tap off of that, and then I've got the light blue, and then I got the dark blue. But let's say I want the dark blue and have all my pen tools really right next to each other. If I take my finger and I tap on that pen, I can just click and drag it over to change the ordering of the pens. So now if I tap on that black one and just start writing, it's going to start drawing. And let's say now I want some blue, and now I want my dark blue. And you'll see that that was much thinner than those ones. Let's say I want to make it thicker. Super thick. If you want to get out of that, you always use your finger to tap off of it. So now I've got the really thick lines. Let's say I'm like, that's too thick. And it kind of shows you the example of how thick the line is. Oop, tap off of it. Now what you're also going to notice, as I draw, I'm going to push really light, and then I'm going to start pushing harder. The pencil and the iPad will detect how hard you're pushing, so as you push hard, it'll make your line thicker and darker. So you can actually change the darkness and the width of it just by how hard you push. Now, let's say I want to get rid of any of those. Remember I was talking just a few minutes ago about the little double tap? So I'm going to just tap, and you tap on the flat part of the pencil. So you see the whole pencil is round, except on this one side you've got the flat side where the logo sits. So if I tap down on the bottom inch or so of the pencil, watch up here, it's going to switch from my pen to my eraser. And you'll see now my eraser is highlighted. If I tap again, or double tap, it's going to go back to the last pen tool I had. So let me switch it to the black one. Now I'm going to double tap, it goes to my eraser. Now I'm going to double tap again, it's going to go back to that black marker. That makes it really quick and easy. So if I want to erase, I just swipe through those lines and everything's gone. Let's say I want to go back to my pen tool. I double tap, and I'm off and drawing again. And I can interact with the text. This works exactly the same in Microsoft Excel and Microsoft PowerPoint. When you go into any of those apps, you will see that same navigation menu at the top with the draw tool right there, and you can use it exactly the same way. You'll see a little slider here that says draw with touch. If you tap that, then I can use my finger or the pen to draw. I don't prefer that. I prefer to use my fingers to move around on the screen and use the navigation, and use the pencil strictly for drawing. You've got the pencil tool here. Oops. Get off of that. You'll see it kind of has just a different look. But it still gives you some neat features that you can do. And then you've got the highlighter tool. So I could highlight certain text that I want. And then again, when I want to jump back to the eraser and get rid of something I just did, I just double tap on that flat side at the bottom. Now, if you just go through the object, it will remove everything that's attached to those lines. So let's say I want to get rid of everything. That's the easy way to do it. So that's kind of how the pen tool works within Microsoft Office. It is very, very similar in Pages, Keynote, and Numbers. Very, very similar. Just a few minor differences. And in every app you're going to learn there's some little differences in how it works. So it's just a matter of getting in and playing around. But the basic functions are you go into the app and it will work if the app works with it. So I'm going to get out of that and I'm going to open Keynote. Because this is a common one that you might do a presentation for your students or something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit play. This is a video I do play on this iPad. This is a video presentation I usually do for the staff at the start of our year. So if you just tap on the screen with your pencil, you will see all these different options that show up. The first is that icon right there. When I tap on it, that's a laser pointer. So you'll see there's a little laser on the screen. Now you might ask, what's the point of that? If you're projecting what you're showing on your iPad, they won't see your pencil. All they'll see on the screen is that red laser pointer. So you can use that to highlight a point you're talking about or circle a word or something like that. But you'll see all these other colors. This will allow you to draw on your presentation. And I can change the colors just like I do on other things. Change it to white. Draw all around. Then you have the undo button. But we'll just step back through and undo those things. Now those won't save into your presentation. These are just within the slideshow. So like if I draw a red line and then I hit done, it goes away. So I can keep moving through my show. Whoop. So in Pages, Keynote, all those different apps, you can use the tool within those apps. It's just a matter of playing around to see how they work. Now, in Pages, it is a little bit different. Open my Pages app up. So I've got a picture of my Christmas tree here. I've been kind of playing around with this a little bit. So if I click on the three dots, you'll see the Smart Annotation tool. And then you'll see this tool on the bottom that pops up. This is the default Apple Pen system, tray, whatever you want to call it. Now you've got some different tools here. The first one is you'll see this red one over here. This is where you can draw anywhere. You can either have a pen or a highlighter. So I'm going to leave it on the pen. I'm going to make the thickness a little bit bigger, but you can go all the way up to super thick and super thin. I'm going to go in the middle, and then I'm going to click on black. And it allows me just to draw all over. I can change the color to red. Change it to green. And then I can double tap, and it will select my eraser tool. Just swipe through those objects quickly to get rid of them. Or over here you could tap on the undo button or the redo. And it'll take them out. It'll undo or redo the last action you did and just keep going backwards. You could physically tap on the eraser. You could make it thicker. You could change how it erases. Then you've got this other cool little tool called Scribble. It's going to automatically change, and this works throughout the iPad. It's going to automatically change anything you write to actual text. Now, as you can see, it works okay. It's not always the greatest, but it does work well at times, and at times it doesn't. I don't know why it didn't work too well for me that time, but I have found it works okay. So if you're in a document and you just want to take notes, you can just start writing with your pencil and take the notes. Again, I'll let the results speak for itself. You might find that it works better for you. And it gives you also some little notation stuff that you can do here. So you can enter down. So you could enter down and do things like that. So I find personally the pencil tool in Pages and Numbers, it's okay. If you're going to use the pencil a lot, I would personally say look at the Microsoft Office apps. But if you really do like Pages, Numbers, Keynote, it does work. It just can be a little quirkier sometimes. Now I will say each iOS update, so from 13 to the recent 14 one, it got a lot better and allowed you to do a lot more. I'm guessing going from this iOS to the next one, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to get a little more powerful and allow you to do even more. But personally, when I'm doing, document type things, I'll stick with Word and Excel. And then when I'm doing presentations, I'll go with Keynote. But as I said, PowerPoint does work really well, especially when you're in a presentation. If you put worksheets up, you can use the pencil very easily to write in those. So very, very easy to do with that. Now the next thing is, let's say you're in your web browser. And let's say you have something on your screen you want to do some writing on. Anywhere, it doesn't matter what app, you could be on your main screen where it shows all your icons. You can be anywhere on your iPad. If you start, on one of the bottom corners, doesn't matter which corner, start on one of the bottom corners and you tap your pencil off the screen, so on the black part, and then just swipe up diagonally, it's going to take a screenshot and you will see the pencil tool opens up. Then I can actually tell it to either just take a screenshot of what's on the screen or full page. And, whoops. And if I go off on the gray area, because it's not a full page, if there was more to the screen, I could actually scroll down the screen. So let me actually take a screenshot of something. So on this page, there's more to scroll. So I'm going to start off the screen, down in the bottom left corner, or you can do the right corner and just swipe up. It's going to take a screenshot. Now I can either tell it just to do what was directly on the screen, or I could say full page. When I go full page, if I touch in the gray area, I can scroll down. I can zoom in, zoom out. If you move one finger, it will write for you. But if you take two fingers, you can scroll down your page. So I can pinch to zoom in, take two fingers, I can scroll up and down the page. So I could say, oh, you know what? I want to highlight that. And have the kids, focus on that. I could say, oh, I want a little bit thinner, and I want it to show up in yellow. Hey, look at the sports. So it allows me, so remember, two fingers to move around the page. And then when you're done, you can hit done. You can save the PDF to your files. Or you can tap the little share button and you can send it to your files. You can save it to any other services you have. You can copy it. You can message it to yourself. You can send it to your laptop if it shows up. You can send it to another application. And you can set up all sorts of stuff to send it to. So if that's all you wanted to do is just show people that, then when you're done, you can hit delete and delete PDF. Now, as I said, you can do this from anywhere. I could be on my main screen. I'm going to do it from the bottom right corner this time. I'm going to swipe up. There's the screenshot. Let's change the color. Let's go to blue. Ooh, let's make that thicker. It's easier to see. Go in red. And I can draw all around my screen. And then when I'm done, you can either hit done and save it to your files, or hit delete and just move on. This works everywhere on your iPad. Everywhere. So the big thing to remember is play around with it. Try things out. When you're in an app, if you keep the settings to the default for your Apple Pencil, you can tap on the bottom to switch between your eraser and pen tool. So I can draw, double tap, pencil, erase, double tap, and I'm back to drawing. All right, so I hope this gives you kind of a basics on how to use the Apple Pencil. There is a lot of stuff and a lot of apps that work for it. There's some apps that are specifically made so you can use your Apple Pencil. There's a lot of apps that integrate with it so you can use normal things and use your Apple Pencil. So my biggest suggestion is play around. I will be doing some more videos on some Apple-based apps that work specifically with the Apple Pencil. I'll be doing one on Explain Everything, which for our teaching staff, we have licenses out to everybody. So you'll be able to use that. Otherwise, this is Adam on Tech, signing off.